Greetings, it's Sheila. It's wonderful to be with you. And today's video is called How Can Your Higher Self Help with Relationships? So if you've been following my new series all about working with your higher self, you will know that the majority of you is in the spirit world as we speak. We are like the little toe or the thumb of the rest of us, and it is my experience that when we access what the higher self feels and thinks about the life we have now, if we are able to put ourselves in that place where we feel the same as we really feel, our life really starts to change. And that is because you're not going in a direction different to the one that your higher self at the end of the day is going to demand that you go down. It means everybody's on the same page. Now, relationships can be a wonderful thing, but they can also be very, very complex and very difficult. And I have been told that right now there are many couples out there that are really feeling as though the relationship has changed because the partner is no longer the person that they recognize. So I wanted to do a video to talk to you about how your higher self can help you in relationships. So the first thing I will say is that when you work with your higher self, it's really important to do so from a place of neutrality. Because if you're trying to get clear guidance and your emotions are very escalated, it can be incredibly difficult to take action based on what you're getting. That is why one of the services that I offer is actually to trance channel your higher self so that you can really hear what the priorities are at a soul level, and what the rewards are for actually living in alignment with those priorities. It means you waste a lot less time. So your higher self can help you to see the true soul of the person that you're with. So for me, this was particularly helpful when my loved one was very ill. And we're talking all relationships here, not just love relationships. This example I'm giving you was actually nothing to do with a spouse. It was a relative. But when that person is, in this instance, this person had dementia, and it was my grandmother. And when she was, really badly behaved, being able to see the real person, not the one that was doing what she did through no fault of her own, it really helped me to remain open-hearted and compassionate. And that can be really difficult when you are going through something with someone and, you're scared. So your higher self can also help you to make peace with what is upsetting you. And I call this the deal breaker. So there are things that we learn to live with. There are things that we have to live with if we want to be with something. And one of the things that can happen with light workers is that they try to slow their growth down because they're scared of losing the spouse that they're with at the moment, which I think is very understandable. And also, the more you try to slow your growth down, it just becomes impossible for you to deal with where you are. There's almost a sense of panic that if your spouse doesn't get with the program, you might actually have to let them to get on with it. And that can be very, very difficult. It's a source of real pain for many empathic souls. But what your higher self can do is help you to make peace with what's upsetting you the most. Now, this is not to say that your higher self is going to put a sticking plaster over the things that you wish weren't happening, but what you can make peace with are the places where you've done as much as you can. And I went through this with my little girl, that I've had to make peace with the fact that I have now done as much as I can. And that can really take the pressure off, especially if it is maybe being suggested that you need to do more, or that you need to give more, or that you should put up with whatever the other person is doing. So your higher self can also help you to know if it's worth you struggling on right now. All relationships go through ups and downs. All relationships have good times, and all relationships, if they're going to be long term, have bad times too. I don't know of a marriage or a long term relationship which is different to this. I've been very happily married for 10 years, but we've had our ups and downs. So being able to know if it's worth the struggle, and I'm using that word because it may not be a struggle for your spouse, but it may well be a struggle for you if they have an addiction, or if they have a behaviour that really triggers you, if they have a bad temper. You need to know if it's actually worth you putting in the effort that you're putting in. Now, I'm on my third marriage and I am incredibly happy. But in my second marriage, my higher self made it clear it wasn't worth me putting the effort in, because this person was not right for me, which is not to say that this person was a bad person. It's just that they were not right for me, and thereby I wasn't right for them. So that is a really powerful thing that connecting with your higher self can help you with. Your higher self can also enable you to sense that there is going to be an upturn of events if you're struggling as a couple with money, or you're struggling with, anything, physical illness. Your higher self can actually reassure you that whatever you're going through at the moment is periodical, and that things will get better with time. Your higher self can also connect with the higher self of the person you want to be with, or with the person that you are with. So one of the things that I do is I don't need to at this time. And again, it would only be my daughter this would be relevant to. But let's say that I did have an issue. I could connect to my husband's higher self, and I could ask what the lessons were that he needs to learn, or that I need to learn. What is the most beneficial way that I can proceed to get things back on track? So everybody can do that. And all of these things, not just to do with love relationships, but to do with complex family situations, to do with situations where maybe you've not been in contact with somebody for a very long time. You can work with the loved one's higher self to find out how that person is, and to find out whether you should reach out to them, or whether they're still growing, or whether they're not growing. So really using the connection with your higher self allows you to access the higher self of the people that you are having issues with. Now, the last thing I'm going to say is your higher self can call forward a soulmate that is right for you at this moment in your life, but they will only do that if there is room for the soulmate to come in. If there is no room for the soulmate to come in, they will often call forward a soul friend to keep you company, which may or may not be of the same sex, and may or may not be someone that you have a connection with. Sometimes when there are affairs, that is actually a soul friend who's coming in to catalyse one party to realise that the other relationship is actually dead. And many people mistake that soul friend as being their twin flame, and very often they're not. Their job is to come in to help the person to break free in whatever way is best for them, so that everybody can grow. But your soulmate, your higher self can call in the right soulmate for you if you're on your own, and you can connect with your higher self, and you can say to them am I ready for my true soulmate? You can ask them how to meet your true soulmate. You can ask them, you can ask yourself, is there anything else I should be doing now to bring my soulmate in? So I will just tell you a very funny story. I did all of this, except I did it with Orion rather than my higher self at the time. And I was guided to join a dating agency. The first man I met wanted to get married. Not to me, he just wanted to get married. And I had 2 divorces under my belt by this time. The second man is the man I've been married to happily for 10 years, and he's called Mr. Right. And by God, he is. So your higher self can tell you what to do to meet your soulmate. And sometimes it's not right for you to do anything, but sometimes it is time for you to take action. So I really, really hope this has helped you. One of the gifts that I have is to be able to give you your cosmic name, which is your higher self's true name, and also the meaning of that name. And I'm also able to trans-channel your higher self on any topic you need. So if I can help you, come on over to SheelaMaria.com where everything sparkles. I am sending you so much love. Have a wonderful weekend and goodbye, my darlings, for now.